What's up, guys? Hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to just kind of do a follow-up to a video I did a few weeks ago about me going out on the street and doing some street portraits. In this video, it wasn't really street portrait. I don't think it was even, or it's even considered street photography at all. But a lot of you really enjoyed the street portraits and how I was explaining my thought process and how I ended up getting the photos that I got, and what caught my attention in the images that I shared with you. So I just thought maybe since you guys are interested in that, why don't I do another video and talk about some photos that I recently made, and share that with you, as well as a few thought process and how and why I ended up with the images that I got. I created some images in the museum that I just thought they are very interesting, and I really love them, that I wanted to share with you, and a few things that maybe if I have the opportunity to do it again, that I will learn from and do it differently, with the approach that I went in with these photographs. So creating this image, I use my Fujifilm X-T5 that I'm actually recording the video on right now, with my 27 2.8 lens, which I ended up having some issue that I'll talk about in later down the video. Here are some of the images that I took at the museum, and then I will come back and share with you a few of them, my thoughts and the process in getting those images. There were a few instances and a few situations where I wish I had a focal length wider than the 27 that I had. Maybe if I had like an 18, which is equivalent to 28, I would have really appreciated and loved that, because in situations where the space that I'm in is not that big, or in situations where there are a lot of people that I want to include more in the frame, I find it very difficult to make. In these few examples that I'm about to show you right now, there were more people around than I could fill up in the frame. And also, I feel like the tighter that I am, it doesn't really show the environment as much as I would want to show. The pictures that I was taking in mind wasn't to show you the art pieces on the wall. That is not the main focus. The main focus of, or the main reason of taking these images, was to show people interacting with the art on the wall, people interacting with the space, people just hanging out in the space, and people just, enjoying art in the space. There were also situations where I kind of was trying to create some images inspired by some of the paintings, on the walls. There is this specific painting that is in my mind right now. I cannot remember the artist or the name of it, but it's like the inside of a building with just a bunch of people, doing different types of stuff, and the focus was on of the painting was just showing the space, the people, how they are interacting and how they are moving through the space. And I was very inspired by the painting, that I wanted to kind of implement that in the photographs that I was taking. So I was paying attention to, especially when I walk in a room where there is like a lot of people, I think about that painting, and I try to place everybody in the frame where it's gonna look more interesting. Which there were a few photos that I think I got that results that I was looking for. However, like I said, with a 27 millimeter lens, which is equivalent to 40 or 42 millimeters, sometimes you are limited to how much you can put in the frame. And I think the more I am photographing this way, the more I'm, approaching the photographs that I'm recently taking, especially if it's not portrait or, fine art piece. I'm realizing I want something wider. So yesterday I remember telling my friend, this weekend we had a family funeral, and I will be actually sharing those photographs and talking about it, the importance of documenting and photographing family. So watch out for that video that is gonna come anytime soon. But I wish I had a 28 millimeter lens because there was a lot happening. There was a lot of people. I was in a space where I don't have much to move back or forward. And the more you include people, the more you include the room that you are in, the more context you give. And so that is the situation that I was finding myself when I was photographing in the museum. In these very photos that I'm about to show you, when I walked into the room, or even before I walked in the room, I could tell there was a lot of people because in the entrance there was more people, and I could hear the sounds and the talking. And there were some kids in there too as well. So I was going in ready to be able to capture all of this. And as I was walking in, I realized if I go in way too much, I'm getting close to the people and I wouldn't be able to fill up my frame. So I started taking photos right from the entrance as I walk in. And as you can see, there's a lot of people, but they are all kind of like all together where I actually had to wait to have them all come closer a little bit, because if they were too spread out, I would have to stand way back and I'll be having the doorway in the frame, and I didn't like that. And so I I took those shots, a few of them. These were the ones that I selected, and then as I walk in, I saw this kid, just one of the kid just like sitting or laying in the couch, just minding her own business. Felt like she didn't want to be there. And then there was one that was just standing there, looking away from the art. Actually, as soon as I walked in and started pointing the camera, she started staring my way. And then there was this other kid that was just having fun, just running around. And I thought that was a really interesting scene. And so actually stood there for some time and took more photos that I had taken in any of the rooms that I walked in. But as you can see, like with the two adults sitting in the chair on the right, and all the way to the other room with the one person standing over there, that perspective, that depth that I could get in the image was really interesting. Like I said, there was to my right, behind the chairs there was a lot of people standing there, and I wish I could include them all in the image because that will show you how big the space is, and also like the amount of people that were there interacting with the art pieces. So I went in even closer, and like I said, there is the kid that kept following, her eyes just kept following me, and the other kid just also still sitting or laying in the chair, and that one kid just running around and having fun. And I'm glad that I was able to capture that, especially in this image. There is six people in the photograph, and it looks like everybody is kind of looking in different direction, doing their own thing, interacting with the art differently. But I just wish I could have more in the frame. I think it would have made it way, 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 way better than I was able to capture in this image. However, I still really do love the image. In situations where there were single subjects that were looking at the pieces or interacting with the pieces, if I had a wider lens, or if I had the room big enough and be able to step back, I could just feel that solitude in the images of them, just taking in whatever they are looking at. And this is going to come from my own perspective. Anytime I'm looking at art, I'm trying to connect with it. I'm trying to understand what the artist is trying to convey in the art piece. Sometimes it's very self-explanatory. Sometimes too, it's just like you have to use your own imaginations to fill out, whatever it is the artists have left out, which I'm an artist as well. And so we do that just to kind of give people the room to be able to connect with our work, have their own critique, like mind to fill in the spaces, create a story in their head of what they think you are trying to tell. Sometimes it exactly what the artist is trying to say. Sometimes it's different, which is the beauty of art. So whenever I saw people, single people looking at the pieces, I just try not to let them see me or put the camera in their face. So most of the photos you see, it's from behind. Most of the time when people photograph from the back, it's not that interesting. But in this situation, I think it makes sense because I wanted to photograph people um, just having their own moments and looking at these pieces. And again, the focus is not on the art, but it's on the persons and the interaction that they're having with the room and space that they are in. This room with this box mirrored box that was in the middle of the room was the most challenging because I didn't want to just photograph, the mirror or the box in the middle, because again, I didn't want that to be my subject, the main focus of the photograph that I was making. So I kind of stood around a little bit trying to come up with different ideas to photograph. I took a few photos and then I photographed this lady that was single in the frame looking at the art pieces. And as I was taking the photo, I saw this guy kind of walking in around, and I waited for them to kind of get in the other spot of the opposite direction of where the other lady was. And I really love how he came in and how he raised his head to look at the piece on the wall because, you have two people in the same room interacting with the art different spaces differently. Instead of standing right in front of it to look at it, he's walking and looking at it as he walk away. And it really made the image, and I really, really like this one because it's, again, because of the mirror and because of how much is in the photograph. There's too much going on that if you include a lot, it wasn't looking good. So I really, really love this one with these two people in the frame. The last part that I want to talk about is the humor, some of the few humor in the images that I took. There were some of them that I recognized and tried to capture it that way. And then there were some that I didn't even realize I was taking those photos. Well, I did know I was taking, I just didn't know how funny it was afterwards until I had edited or when I was editing the photos. Especially this image here where you have this figure that is kind of this woman figure that has both arms or both hands on the waist, kind of looking out with a hole in the face, and this other lady just standing there looking at it like what is happening. I think it's very funny. You might not find it funny, but I think it's very funny, and it looks like they're having a conversation, which is very, very funny to me and interesting. As well as this photo with the lady pointing her hand pointing right direct at his butt. Initially, I wasn't. I almost deleted this image, but the more I look at it, the more I think it's funny, and the more interesting I think the photographs look, and I really, really like it. This woman, I ended up photographing her quite a few times. That I decided to stop photographing when she is in any other room because I didn't want her to feel like I was following her around. But this woman was walking away, and I realized this painting on the wall, and I knew that if I'm able to capture her right in the space that I want her to be, it's gonna look like the painting is staring down at her, and it's very funny, which I really, really enjoy and I really love. These are moments where I like that it's just one person and it's not like many people, because that wouldn't make it as good as it is in the with just one person being in it. Yeah, I really enjoyed taking the photos. These photos are going to be submitted to the museum, but I wish I had a wider lens to be able to capture the spaces and people interacting with the art, um, than using the 27. And then also, one thing that I really want to do the next time is not kind of move around a lot because I didn't want people. I think at some point people noticed me and started kind of standing a certain way or posing kind of for me, and I didn't really like that. I just wanted to capture people um, without noticing me. So the next time maybe my approach will be different. I won't move around in the spaces like I did in the past, and then also have a wider angle lens. I really love using the X-T5 because the shutter was very quiet, and it's small, not that big, so it wasn't taking up too much. It wasn't as or seeking too much attention. If I had brought my 16 to 55, it's a bigger lens, so people will already know, oh, there's a camera in the room, and people are going to start acting a certain way, and that is not what I'm looking for. And that is why I did not take it, even though I knew that that would give me a good variant of like focal length to use. So yeah, I don't know, I don't think I will pick up the 18 2.8 lens, but maybe, I don't know, the next time I'll shoot film too. I'm hoping to pick up a 28 for my Leica R and Leica Flex SL2, and maybe next time I'll take that, shoot some black and white as well, and see how it ends up. What I said about my camera acting up and acting weird, I had bought a square hood for my 27 millimeter lens. I think it looks great with square hoods on them. So visually the camera looked great, but I started noticing this error message that kept popping up anytime I go to take a photo. It tells me to turn off the camera and turn it back on, and I'll do that and it will work for some time, but then it keeps popping up. So it was a little bit frustrating. I missed a lot of photos because of that. It's a lot of moments because of that. So I ended up posting it on Thread and asking if anybody had the same issue and problem. There was a few one that scared me. Some people were saying, yeah, that's an issue with the lens, and sometimes people said it broke and they had to buy a new one or get it to be fixed. People were saying to update it, blah blah blah. At the end of the day, 2 or 3 people suggested that because the lens focuses with the front element, and once you put a square hood on it, it makes it heavier, so it's not moving as the camera know it's supposed to, and that is why I kept getting the error message. So then I decided to take off the square hood and see if that is going to fix the problem, and it did. So as much as I really don't like the look of the camera now when I put on the 27, because I wish, like I said, I really like when there is the square hood on it, but it's causing problems, so I wouldn't be able to do that at all. So yeah, that was it. If you are having issues with your camera like that, maybe if you have a lens hood or whatever it is you have on the lens, take it off. It's not your camera or it's not the lens that is at fault. It's just the front element becomes heavy, and so the camera cannot move as the camera knows it's supposed to. So I wish that didn't happen, or I wish I knew earlier before going in, so I could have not missed all the moments that I missed. But hey, we learn from the mistakes we make, and then the next time I'll go in prepared. So that is it for the video. That is it. That's all I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I really had fun taking these photos. I'm definitely gonna go back again with another setup. This time maybe, like I said, film, shoot some black and white. Hopefully by then I've been able to get the 28 millimeter lens for my Leica R8 and Leica Flex SL2, and shoot some black and white. Thanks for watching. Follow me on my Instagrams, Edmund K. Boateng. I haven't talked about this at all in any of my videos, but I have another account. It's called Silly Street Boy, and that is where I post most of my street photography, images that I walk around and take, because I've been battling this for a while as to if I should combine all those work, but I find it, like, I prefer it this way, separating my conceptual and portrait work from my street and just like the everyday photos that I take. So if you're interested, go check it out. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you being here and watching this video instead of all the other content that is here on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, bye bye.